Okay? The second time, let me tell you something. There were people out in the streets of Key West, Republican, vote for Romney. Now, this is a liberal town, and there were people coming from all over. I don't know a single person that voted for Obama the second time, yet he got elected. Okay, now let's look at the Hillary and Bernie thing that's going on right now. Okay? I don't know a single person who supports Hillary Clinton. Any Democrat friend that I know supports Bernie Sanders. So can you explain to me how she is winning the nomination when I can't find a single person on the street that wants her as president who is a Democrat?
It's called manipulation of the press. You see, they're manipulating our vote. They're brainwashing us to what they want their propaganda is.
Exactly. And this is the deeper issue that we need to be addressing right now. You know, how come, okay, we voted against this, yet this person is there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. And you see, they're manipulating you. They're manipulating us. And that's why we got strikes against us on YouTube, as you know. So, I mean, we address that issue. And this is why we believe what we're doing is the right thing here. Because we're getting people like you to have a clear voice without being censored, without being attacked. And remember, and the biggest one is called be respectful. And news media cannot be respectful anymore at all whatsoever. They cannot.
Of course, but what I feel like this, you know, my frustration is that we are addressing the wrong issues right now. We're complaining about the wrong things. We need to scratch the surface. We have to go deeper. We have to figure out what's really going on in our country. How come the leaders that we want to put forward are not being put forward? How come the representatives that we elect to represent us, public servants, mind you, are going above our heads and doing their own will rather than the will of the people?
That's right.
This is the problem in this country. This is why we have Donald Trump as a nominee in the Republican Party, because people are sick and tired of political correctness and being told this and being told that. Because the fact of the matter is, the majority of Americans do not agree with the narrative being shoved down our throat.
That's exactly the problem, and that's what we're seeing, and that's what we have reported quite a bit here on this program. And we just want to give you an opportunity to have a clear. Give us a clear perspective on how people think of this election, and give your synopsis. You know, your opinion and towards your the way people should address this issue. And without the fear of being attacked, without the fear of
right, and I appreciate that very much. You know, the other part of the problem, you know, that I see, you know, watching all this, just observing other people, everybody is looking for the perfect candidate. They're looking for someone who agrees with them on every single issue. They're not looking to make a compromise there. Let me give you an example. You know that I support Gary Johnson, for instance. There is one issue that I disagree very, very strongly with Gary Johnson. I am a Christian woman. I am pro-life. I was a foster parent, you know, just to be behind that same concept. You know, I've raised 6 different foster kids. Gary Johnson is pro-abortion. I hate that he's pro-abortion. I don't think it's a wonderful thing, but every other principle of his I agree with. So that one thing, I have to let it go because it's for the betterment of us as a country, you know? If you look at the things that he did as governor, you know, he was the king of the vetoes. Everything that the legislature said to him, his question would be, does government really need to be involved in that? Does government really need to be involved in that? That's the direction that our country needs to go. But the Democrats and the Republicans, they have grown government to the point where they fear a libertarian candidate because that breaks down their business. It takes away their power. If all of these different government programs start going away under a libertarian presidency, you know, that's a lot of money that's leaving their pockets. Because let's be honest, government is a business. These people spend money to get elected, and then they spend their whole time of being elected just trying to get elected again. They don't care about the will of the people. They're lining their pockets. You know, these people are supposed to be public servants. There should be term limits. They should not be quitting their day jobs. Government should not be making money off of a volunteer job.
That's exactly right. And, you know, they're being bought up by lobbyists. They're being bought up by special interest groups. and you got people like George Soros being having them being influenced by these super PAC delegates, and this is a big problem. This is why it's a mess right now. This is why yeah, as you know, Gary Johnson believes in abortion. Well, Ted Cruz does not believe in abortion. We need to defund Planned
Right,
Parenthood.
but let me tell you something about Ted Cruz that bothers me a lot. Ted Cruz wants to be in your bedroom. Ted Cruz doesn't think people should be allowed to purchase sex toys. And that's a personal decision for each and every person. What gives Ted Cruz the right to tell another person what they can or can't do in the privacy of their own bedroom with a consenting adult partner? Are you kidding me? That scares me. That is not libertarian. That is not godly, okay? Godly is putting God above everybody else and not having some man tell me that he knows what's best for me. Maybe it's best for him to not use sex toys, but it might not be best for his next door neighbor, and he has no business in that neighbor's bedroom to begin with. Okay, so that's one of my issues with Ted Cruz.
Okay, well,
I am sick and tired of authoritarian presidents. Mm-hmm. Our Constitution and Bill of Rights consists of a total of 3 pages. 3 pages.
Right.
It's really that simple. It's really that basic. How many laws do we have on the books now? Obamacare itself is a 1,300-page law, and all kinds of other stuff are thrown in there. You know what I mean?
20,000. Wait a minute. 20,000 pages of regulation in Obamacare. That's why. And now, he also passed trying to shoot down an executive order on a Second Amendment. Trying to make it. Trying to take your guns away. And the Supreme Court said no, you cannot. And this is why the uproar with Congress this past week, as you know. And Gary Johnson likes the Second Amendment. He's all for guns. So I like Gary Johnson for that. But we do need.
Gary Johnson is all for personal responsibility.
Yeah, he is. And Gary Johnson, what he needs. I like to have Gary Johnson on this program because I want to ask him. Should we defund Planned Parenthood? Because another Planned Parenthood is also a part of comes under abortion. We need to defund.
Gary Johnson doesn't think we should be funding any of those programs. So him believing in abortion or not is secondary. Absolutely, he wants to defund Planned Parenthood because the government shouldn't be involved in that business to begin with. So that's where he's coming from.
Okay.
And that's where I'm coming from. But, here's the other thing, Mark, and this is an interesting way. I know that you're a Christian. You know that I'm a Christian. Mm-hmm. Let's go back to the book of Judges and the book of Samuel, for example. Okay. Now, you know that in the book of Judges, what does God do? He appoints judges over everyone, godly judges to make the decisions when there's any type of disputes, correct?
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely, yeah. We got the Bible right here.
Let's move forward to the book of Samuel. Okay, everything was working well with judges and so on and so forth. Right. But then the Israelites, with everything seeing all the other communities around them that they have kings and this and this and that, what did they do? They begged for a king. Mm-hmm. And what was God's response to them? Do you remember what God's response was?
Yeah, go ahead and tell me. I get looking at the Bible right now. I'm actually looking at it right now.
I believe it's in 1 Samuel. God turned around to them and said, "Why do you need a king? I am your king. You answer to me. These godly judges help to make the decisions here on earth." And God told them, "If I give you a king, that king is going to make you work for him. You're going to slave for him. You're going to have to follow his laws more than my laws." Right. In a nutshell, basically, this is what God said. So God never meant for us to have a king over us or a president or that sort of leader, okay?
Right.
And basically, the way that we're living right now, the way that our country is set up, we are living in a kingdom, and that is not godly.
Right. Exactly right. And,
God says only he is our judge.
Right.
So what are all these other men putting themselves over us, claiming to be our judges, telling us what to do with our bodies and what not to do with our bodies? Do you think God is okay with that?
Right. Yeah. And in the book of Acts, here's a great chapter, chapter 24, verses 16 here, and the humans carried myself have always diminished, voiding of self-righteousness towards God, but God and God toward men. So this is what you're saying is basically, this is a house of God. This is like, remember what Jesus did. Remember what did he do? He went to he said, give back to Caesar what is Caesar. You give back,
Exactly.
give.
Exactly. Because what God is saying in the Bible is that government is not biblical. It is absolutely not
That's
biblical. God
right.
warned us about it. And let's take it a step further too. Let's fast forward to the book of Revelation, okay, where it's talking about the number of the beast and describing what the beast is like and so on.